Today's Kansas City Chiefs report is presented by Fetch Rewards. Go download the Fetch Rewards app and start collecting points on any and all receipts from restaurants and stores. You scan your receipt, boom, they turn into points, which then you will eventually be able to convert into gift cards and other awards. Go to chatsports.com/fetch. Who doesn't like free stuff? That's what they're offering you. Chatsports.com/fetch. It'll redirect you to the App Store, and you will be able to download the app today. Okay, let's talk about Eric Bieniemy because we are still in the middle of coaching carousel season as 8 NFL jobs are currently open. CBS Sports did an article of predicting which openings will land certain coaches, and they've got Eric Bieniemy heading to the Miami Dolphins. Now, as of now, he has not interviewed with Miami in this cycle, but he was a finalist in 2019 and interviewed for the job then. That is when Brian Flores got the job, and maybe, just maybe, that prior, relationship with Bieniemy and the Dolphins, at least the fact that they have talked to one another in the past, could be a reason to believe that he would get the job this time. And let's be honest, EB's been a hot candidate for years now. I put it in air quotes because for some reason he hasn't gotten a job yet, but he's certainly been in the mix. So here's Jeff Kerr. He wrote the article for CBS saying this, quote, "The Dolphins are seeking a culture change from Brian Flores and appear to be looking for a coach to continue to develop Tua. While Miami hasn't interviewed Bieniemy yet, they did interview him in 2019 before settling on Flores. They take a chance on Bieniemy this time around. That's at least his prediction. If not this cycle, when for Eric Bieniemy? That is what I would ask. Like, how many more years of getting the Andy Reid approval, being, the second voice for this offense that is, continuously top 3 in the NFL? Like, I don't know what else teams need to see before they give Eric Bieniemy an opportunity to lead their franchise. Now, there's certainly some pros and cons to Eric Bieniemy, so let's kind of talk through some of those. Number one, the Chiefs lead the NFL in scoring since 2018. That is certainly a pro for him. Andy Reid thinks he's worthy. That's a pro as well. Players love him, including Mahomes. That's another one. Cons, big influence, doesn't call the plays. Off-field baggage while he was a coach at Colorado. Some of the notes, letters cutting off there, but no big deal. And factor in that Matt Nagy failed with the Bears as a head coach, and he was the last, Andy Reid coaching tree guy. So maybe teams are worried about that because Bieniemy does not call the plays. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. I do think it deserves a chance. If you're, let's get to the question here, though, of the day when it comes to Eric Bieniemy. Will he get a job in this cycle? Type Y for yes. Type N for no. I want to hear it from you guys down in the comments. Will Eric Bieniemy get a head coaching job in this coaching cycle? Just curious what you guys think. This will be the pinned comment on this video. After the YouTube ad break, I'll give more thoughts on Eric Bieniemy. I think he deserves a shot. I think Eric Bieniemy deserves a shot to be an NFL head coach. It's just what I believe. I just think that he's paid his dues, and I think that if Andy Reid continues to sign off on a guy, that should go a long way. I get that Matt Nagy failed in Chicago, but you know what? Eric Bieniemy is a totally different guy. Like, that doesn't mean that he is going to fail. Now, that doesn't mean the Bears should go hire him. Obviously, they're probably going to think in a different direction, but I am surprised that there is not a ton of buzz when it comes to Eric Bieniemy. So I hope he gets an opportunity, but I'm not so sure this is going to be the cycle for him, and if not now, then when? I want to tell you guys about our sponsor today. That is the Fetch Rewards app. I told you guys earlier, all you got to do is scan receipts within the app, and you guys can see how easy it is. A little demo for you guys. You just grab your receipt, and then you click that orange icon, which is where you can start scanning them. Boom, you scan it. It confirms all the information that it needs to, and then you start getting points that you can convert into future gift cards. You want to see that confetti pop in. That's how you know that it worked. And then every receipt you scan, the more points that you are going to get. And over time, which, by the way, you can start with 3,000 on your first receipt if you use our promo code Chiefs when you go to chatsports.com/fetch. That is the link to go to. But you build points over time, and then all of a sudden, you're like not even paying for dinner at some point this month because you got a gift card to Chili's or some other restaurant. You can get your next Amazon purchase at a discount with a gift card as well. Don't want to pay for your morning coffee? Yeah, Starbucks gift cards are available as well. Start racking up points today with the Fetch Rewards app and use promo code Chiefs to get 3,000 bonus points after you go to chatsports.com/fetch. Got to use our link, chatsports.com/fetch. Then you download the app, plug in the promo code, and start scanning those receipts. Don't be like I used to and say, no, I don't want my receipt. Always take your receipts now and start scanning them. Let's talk Melvin Ingram now here on the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. He met with reporters on Wednesday and said he'd like to stay in Kansas City beyond this year. And, hey, let's be honest, he's been pretty solid since coming over in that trade from Pittsburgh. Now, a lot of things to consider. Obviously, the Chiefs will have some salary cap challenges moving forward with a lot of big contracts on the books. And Melvin Ingram is going to turn 33 this offseason, so it's not like he's a spring chicken at this point. But he has proven that he's not washed like he appeared to be, a year or two before this. Was playing okay with Pittsburgh and then has come over and played well. Now, he has not lit up the stat sheet by any means, but he's been a good run stopper. He's gotten pretty consistent pressure, hadn't converted that into, a ton of sacks or anything like that. But as, your number 2, number 3 pass rusher, he's been pretty solid, and I think he showed out better against the run than I expected. That play against Denver where Nick Bolton scoops and scores for a touchdown to totally turn that game around. That was all Melvin Ingram, blowing that play up, getting that forced fumble there. So I'm open to the idea of bringing him back. He wants to return. He likes it in Kansas City. He approved the trade from Pittsburgh because he did not want to be there. And remember, in free agency last year, he visited with the Chiefs before ultimately signing with the Steelers. So there's been mutual interest for quite a while. So I'm going to ask you guys. You guys can sound off in the comments. Should the Chiefs re-sign Melvin Ingram? Type S for sign him. Yes, you want to bring him back. Type P for pass. Appreciate his services this year, but he can sign elsewhere. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. All right, let's get to our next story here. Jerick McKinnon. Is he RB1 from here on out, at least for the rest of this season? I think it's possible, man. He played really, really well as the lead back against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Had 142 yards and a touchdown in that game as a runner and a receiver combined. And he was really explosive. Good footwork, good yards after the catch in the screen game. I thought he had a couple of nice runs as well. You look at the numbers for McKinnon in that wild card matchup. He was impressive, man. 5 yards a carry, 12 carries, 61 yards, excuse me. He was even better as a receiving back, 6 catches for 81 yards. I mean, the Steelers could not slow down the screen game with McKinnon as he had a touchdown catch in this game as well, average of over 13 yards. I mean, he was impressive in the open field, making guys miss, breaking some tackles. Will, if you can't tell, I'm very impressed with Jerick McKinnon. I mean, I liked him earlier in his career. Remember when he was with Minnesota and he played really well, got that contract with San Francisco, and then he missed 2 years basically due to major injuries. Played last year with the Niners, was okay. But now this year you kind of feel like his legs are back. And even though he's a little bit older, not a ton of mileage because he missed those 2 full seasons with the 49ers. I'm impressed, and with the running back position somewhat in flux, I think that Jerick McKinnon is a guy that should be considered to be the lead back moving forward like he was last week. We'll see how Andy Reid approaches it. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Chiefs Report because we have news and rumors all year round, and this is the most important time, right in the middle of a playoff push, right? Previews, recaps, live watch parties, live shows during the week, news and injury updates leading up to every single matchup. Hit that subscribe button. Don't miss any of our videos. By the way, we're like 350 subs away from 25,000, a huge milestone. Help us get there. It's youtube.com/ChiefsTV. Speaking of injury updates, you kind of talk about that running back position being in flux. Well, Clyde Edwards-Helaire still dealing with that shoulder. We don't really know if he's going to play, and if he does play, how impactful is he going to be? I don't think even if he's cleared, do you all of a sudden make him your starter? Basically with me at this point for this season, not necessarily next season and beyond, but for this season, I don't have expectations for CEH. If he gets back and gets healthy and is a part of the rotation, cool. If he gets back and starts and balls out, even better. But I don't think he's the difference in winning a Super Bowl or not. Like, I think you can get by with what you have. Now, obviously, you have Darrel Williams as well, who had been starting and had been playing well, but he kind of was on a pitch count last week. You could tell the Chiefs used him as kind of a third down back, especially early on in that game. I think he was on a snaps restriction because he's dealing with that toe injury. It might be a turf toe situation, so you can't, give him a ton of touches there. But I certainly still want him to be featured a little bit. But the best back I saw last week was Jerick McKinnon. I thought he was really, really good. So we'll go ahead and skip this one, Trace. No big deal. We'll go to the next story. But let me know in the comments. I'll just verbally ask which running back should be the lead back. I'm going to say Jerick McKinnon, but I'm curious to see what you guys see on that front. Who should be the lead running back for the Chiefs the rest of the playoff run? Keep it moving here. I saw this story drop about an hour before our live show here on Wednesday. I thought this was interesting. Colin Cowherd on his radio show and there was a long-winded kind of segment he did, but he kind of made the argument that there is an argument to be made that Andy Reid is the greatest coach of all time. And, he compared him and Bill Belichick's last 3 years. And, recently Reid has had better results. And then you factor in, well, what's Belichick without Tom Brady, so on and so forth. Now, I love Andy Reid. I think he's the perfect coach for this team right now. He's not the GOAT, though. He has one Super Bowl. Now, had he won one with Philadelphia, he'd be the only coach to have a Super Bowl as a head coach with 2 different franchises. He'd be the only guy. So that would be notable. That's a totally different conversation. Even if it would be less Super Bowls total than Belichick, to have one with 2 different franchises and factor in that he might win a couple more in Kansas City. Let's say he had 4, and including with multiple franchises. That would be a strong argument. But right now, you're not there yet. Now, over time, let's say he wins 3 more with the Chiefs. And let's say Belichick isn't the same without Tom Brady. Maybe that conversation becomes different, but I still think there's a pretty wide gap at this point in time between Belichick and Reid. I'll say this. I think Andy Reid is by far the best coach with only 1 Super Bowl. He's led 2 franchises to a ton of 10-win seasons, a ton of playoff appearances, 4 NFC title games with the Eagles, and a Super Bowl appearance, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 win, and 3 AFC title appearances with the Chiefs. He's a hell of a coach, but he's not the GOAT, and that's okay. I want to know from you guys, how many more Super Bowls does Andy Reid need to win to become the GOAT? At least 3 more, probably. I mean, realistically, that would make it 6-4, assuming Belichick doesn't win anymore, but even then, I mean, it's hard to deny what Bill Belichick has done. I want to know from you guys, how many more Super Bowls will Andy Reid need to become the GOAT?